Lee.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The task before members of this House is simple. We must deal with reality, not fantasy. We must be honest with ourselves and with our constituents. We must decide to lead, not be led. Above all, we must each make judgments about what is in the best interests of our constituencies and our country without fear or favour. The issue at hand is too important to do otherwise. I cannot vote for this withdrawal agreement for many reasons. However, this evening I will concentrate on just one. Neither this Brexit nor any other practical form of it measures up to what was promised in 2016. The fact is that people voted to leave because they were told that by doing so the country would be richer, 350 million for the NHS, easy access to the single market, easy deliverable trade deals with the rest of the world. They were told they would have less immigration, specifically less Muslims, as evidenced by the use of Turkey's false position in terms of the accession process. And finally, they were told that they would regain sovereignty. I have not been remotely persuaded that any of these vote leave promises have been shown to be deliverable, and neither have an increasing number of my constituents if recent sophisticated polling is to be believed. Also, I am convinced our countrymen and women chose leave without really knowing many of the implications. To be honest, I was one of them. I was one of those ignorant people who didn't understand the implications. And I point the Chamber to the European Medicines Agency and our lack of membership of it and the impact that would have on the access to new drugs. If we'd gone out and said to the public, vote for this deal, do we know for sure what the result would have been? Are we sure what it would have been, really, with this deal? I suspect our people would have been less than enthusiastic. In fact, I suggest the response would have been up yours, and rightly so. This is why I strongly believe that it would be a supreme act of political fraud to proceed with any practical or legally deliverable form of Brexit without first getting the legitimacy of public consent. And hence I want no part in this act of self-serving political chicanery, or indeed any other future attempts to deliver softer forms of Brexit. This deal doesn't do it for me. However, neither does so-called Norway Plus. Norway doesn't control its borders. Norway pays into EU programmes. Norway isn't at the table where the rules are drawn up. Hands up who think that not controlling immigration or regulations and paying for the pleasure is what won the referendum for vote leave. And for any responsible parliamentarian to contemplate supporting a no-deal Brexit without giving ourselves at least a decade to adjust to that reality is just beyond reckless.
Can the honourable gentleman give way?
Of course.
Sarah Wallace.
I mean, does my honourable friend feel that any responsible government could, in all conscience, inflict no deal on its people?
No, I don't. To be blunt, there is only one way out of our mess. That is to ask the people to decide, to have the final say, and unlike in 2016, to have a choice between, two legally and practically deliverable options. To say, we know you wanted to leave and we respect that, however, leaving means this. Is that okay? This time, no torturous process of subsequently trying to interpret a result. This time, a decision that will be acted on within 24 hours of the result. The clinical equivalent would be to say, I know you wanted an operation, but having done some further tests, we've now realised there's a significant risk you will be harmed. Do you still want it? The government has clearly worked hard to respect the referendum vote in 2016 to deliver a workable Brexit, but its mandate is exhausted. It needs the legitimacy of a new vote. And in response to the argument of some colleagues, it's not true to say that the public will never forgive us if we don't deliver Brexit, but it's certainly the case that if we deliver a bad deal, the public should never forgive us. If the public vote for this Brexit, fine, but I'm not voting for it because there has not been informed consent to it, it's not in my constituents' interests, and it's not in my country's best interests.